Keelan continues our team coverage with attorney Richard Hornsby about the Anthony family dynamic taking center stage in this case.
Yeah, absolutely, Jason. Talk about a rapid-fire series of testimony there with George and Cindy and Lee all in a row. And Richard Hornsby, what sticks out in my mind is with Cindy Anthony, she gets up there and says she didn't know anything about her private eye searching the woods, and then she's directly contradicted by her son. What does a jury take away from something like that?
If I'm the jury, to them, this appears to be nothing more than an Abbott and Costello skit. Who's on first? What's on second? I don't know is on third. I think at some point they're just zoned out, and I think they're probably looking at these Anthonys and go, I don't know if I believe any of them. You really have to wonder if they're just going to start rejecting this testimony and whatever they're saying outright. It's gotten to the point in this trial where really the only credible witness I see left is literally that tow truck operator who said he smelled a dead body. Everybody else, just there is something that is just coming out to show they've been wrong or they've said something incorrectly.
Well, looking at George Anthony this morning, okay, he denied that he found Kaylee's body, but at the same time you felt like his attitude in terms of showing sort of righteous indignation about being asked if he'd had an affair and he said that was funny, was that damaging to his credibility?
I've never thought George Anthony was a good witness in this case, and one of the reasons is I don't think the state set up to the jury that George was aware of all these allegations before they were made public in the opening statement. And yes, I think the jury's looking and going, that's your response? You thought that accusation was funny? You've just heard this same man who's asking you these questions accuse you of molesting your own daughter, and that is your response? I can't believe that one jury on there is looking at him going, oh yeah, I believe what you have to say. And the fact that he came back later in that same conversation and said, oh yeah, I did text her in the middle of the night, but only because I saw the records you put in my face that I couldn't contradict.
But Baez, just to be clear, Baez did not accuse him of molesting Casey today. And in fact, really all he was talking about was having this illicit affair. But when you apply it to what George allegedly said, remember River Cruz saying that he told her, oh, this was, Kaylee's death was an accident that snowballed out of control. Do you think he did a good job denying all that?
No, I just don't think George Anthony is a good witness, period. And listen, you're right. Baez didn't specifically accuse him of molesting his daughter, but every time he questions George, he's implicitly accusing him of that, and the jury is looking at everything George does to wonder how in the world could anybody even accuse somebody of that.
Okay, well, let's turn to Roy Kronk now. It's early on. He's pretty much just talked about the first time he saw this suspect bag or what may have been a skull in there. How do you think he's doing in the face of Cheney Mason's direct?
I really think that Roy Kronk went to the same school on cross-examination that Yuri Melich went to, because I think Roy Kronk is doing a very good job up to this point. Now, granted, we haven't really gotten too deep into his storyline, and they really haven't been able to start attacking him with the inconsistencies, but it's very clear that his attorney, David Evans, prepared him for this case. He's answering the questions, I think, just enough. He's not going into too much detail. He's not throwing out extraneous facts that are going to muddle up his testimony. So to this point, he's doing well, but you know, we're only in the very beginning of his story, and there's a lot more to come, and the jury's going to be asking questions about him.
As a criminal defense attorney, how do you connect the dots with him to suggest he somehow staged the remains there to collect the reward?
There's only two scenarios I can see the defense going to connect Roy Kronk to the body. Either one, he went to the Anthony's house to check the meter, and the meter for some reason was in the backyard, and that's where he discovered the body. Or two, he did find the body when he went to relieve himself, and for some unknown or bizarre reason decided to remove the body and bring it back later when the reward might have gone up. Those are the only two possible scenarios I could see the defense realistically connecting Roy Kronk without accusing him of actually being involved in the death.
All right, Richard Hornsby, thanks very much. There's still a lot to be covered this afternoon with Roy Kronk, as we haven't even touched on his discovery of Kaylee Anthony's remains. Let's get back to you now.